Welcome to Legal Intelligence, powered by IVIONICS, offering practical insights and innovative digital solutions.
So, Paul, glad to have you here. CEO and entrepreneur. Explain a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what's going on there.
I don't usually tag myself as being an entrepreneur because the way that I got into business was a deviation from going out in the real world. I graduated college. I didn't want to work in corporate America. I had some experience in some internships that I did, and I just didn't like the way that politics and the way things operated in the corporate world. So I did everything I can to avoid it, and myself and a friend of mine who I went to high school and college with ended up being successful enough to accomplish that mission. That was our mission. Our mission wasn't to create a company, wasn't to do anything, it was to go out there and find enough work to pay our bills, pay our rent, and
And just avoid
and
the
our
corporate.
bar tabs. Yeah,
Oh,
so
there you
let's
go.
just avoid it altogether. That was really it, and we were just fortunate. We were in the right place at the right time. There was a tremendous amount of opportunity, tremendous amount of work. It just found us, and it was easy in that sense. And we were always doing things that we loved doing. We were both computer nerds, as you call it, and we loved programming. We were just writing various software applications.
Then computer programming was not as popular as a thing, I guess, as nowadays. You hear a lot more people, more into tech. So back then, I think it was a little bit more rare, right, to be in computer programming.
Yeah, another way of saying it is it definitely wasn't cool like it is today. So,
Right.
but it was also a lot more challenging than it is because of when we started, we were actually coding in assembly language, which is the lowest level, almost writing directly to the chipsets themselves because we just didn't have the software languages that we needed in order to accomplish some of the tasks that we were doing. So way more challenging, way more time consuming than it is today.
Right. Being on that
So
low.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So when you guys were computer programming, is that, I know you said you weren't really, your whole goal was just not to be in corporate America. Did you think this is going to lead somewhere?
Initially, no, we didn't. I'll tell you a quick story on that. Is we got various opportunities to work for a variety of different companies, nursing homes, a tile import distribution company. It just varied. Whatever came our way, we didn't target any specific businesses, and we were fortunate to work with somebody they were a distribution company for the New York State Lottery, and they introduced us to the New York State Lottery organization. And they
Interesting.
asked us to write software. It was a ticket tracking system that it tracked the creation, the printing of the tickets, and the chain of custody out to the agents that printed the tickets and distributed those to all of us that play Lotto, right? Um,
So
so
the Powerball drawing is coming up soon. Do you have the answer to that? You have the winning
well,
numbers or
so
what?
so so anyway, back in the day, and it hasn't changed since then. You had the live numbers, which are the numbers you pick, on your ticket, and then there's what they call the dead number, which is a serial number on the back of the ticket. And that's what we controlled. So if you won Powerball, they would ask you, where did you purchase your ticket from? And you would say, I got it at this agent. And then they would go back through this system. It's been replaced since then, and validate that it wasn't fraudulently created. So in
Oh,
order to
wow.
be able to
Interesting.
validate it, they want to validate both the dead number and the live number so that you can do that. So anyway, so we spent a lot of time, writing this software. Is incredibly difficult to do because of all the controls that need to be in place for it. And we never negotiated a price with the lottery organization that we were doing the work for. So we get to the end of this and we sit down with them to say, all right, you happy with the product? They said, it's great, it's excellent. What do we owe you? And my partner and I, we spent probably like 5 hours negotiating how much are we going to charge for this, because I can't charge for all of our time. A lot of it was learning, etc.
Right.
So we went in and we ended up charging them $40,000. So we're sitting at this conference room table, and the gentleman that's in charge goes, we did all the review and the nice stuff. He says, "What do we owe you?" He said, "We thought about it. We gave him all the justification. We said $40,000." And he goes to another person in the office and says, "Go get the checkbook." He gets the checkbook. He writes a check out for $40,000. Like, wow, that's
So they wrote the check pretty quick.
wrote
So
the
you're
check
probably
pretty quick.
thinking, man, we could have.
So
Could
we're
jack
like,
up the
okay, our business is done here, and we're all right about to get up and leave. And I said to this gentleman, I said, "Just one more question before we leave." He said, "Sure, whatever." I said, "About how much money did this project, this software, save your organization?" He goes, "It's funny. We did an analysis, and it was somewhere around $400,000 or $500,000 a year." And we're like, "So if we charged you $250,000 for this, would you pay it?" He goes, "I wouldn't have thought it would cost that much, but yes, we would have." So we're like, okay. So we walk out, my partner and I walk out the front door, and he just starts hitting me. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Why did you do that?" I said, "Do what?" I said, "Why did you ask those questions?" I said, "Well, we needed to know." He goes, "No, we didn't. We got the money. We're happy with the money." And I rebutted to him that, it was something that we needed to know. I said, "That's, how we're going to learn how to price these things out." And, we felt horrible. We went in there thinking, like, if we got our 40,000, we'd be ecstatic. We were prepared to negotiate down from the 40,000
Right.
and so on. So anyway, the short of it was that we went back to them and we negotiated a deal to take ownership of the work product. We gave them perpetual free support for it, but we own the software, and we could go out and we could sell that software to other lotteries. And we were successful selling it to 12 other lotteries. And we
Wow.
recouped the
Okay.
loss, per se, that we took on the first one
Right.
and learned. And that was kind of our entree really into the business side of it, because we were two tech kids that we could code anything, but we knew nothing about running a business.
Right. And had
Hiring
no idea
people,
how to do it.
pricing something,
Yeah.
we knew nothing about that. So
Right.
that was kind of the, as a lesson learned for sure.
Right. Well, I'm sure that lesson now helped you with everything going forward, though, right?
I haven't forgotten it.
There you go. Now, one of my biggest topics I like to bring up is, because it's big right now, is AI. AI
What does
is,
that stand for?
you know what? I forgot. In case our viewers don't know, artificial intelligence. And so I like to kind of learn how other people are using it and incorporating it into whatever their, how their day to day and their businesses and their, workflows and things like that. So for you, basically, it's going to be a two-part question, because you're going to use it personally and you're going to use it for business. So are you using it? And if so, how do you use it personally and for business, and how do those differ?
So yes and yes, I use it for both, and I use it, I'm going to say, somewhat similar on both sides. So first for me, AI and generative AI, more specifically like ChatGPT, Gemini, are products that I use every day, all day, whether it's for business or for personal. And it's completely replaced search because it's just so much more efficient. I don't use Google search at all. To me, it's just, why? Because I can have someone else, do that work for me.
Right.
So, that is, I can say the most prevalent way that I use that. But I use it for everything. I'm a voice command person, instead of typing in prompts, and especially because I spend a decent amount of time, in the car, always, like I'll have a conversation with, Gemini or ChatGPT on something. And, the other day, I love to surf. So we had a great surf session, and part of my board got damaged, and I was like, all right, it's old board, it's time for a new board.
Okay. Right.
Everybody likes to buy something new every once in a while.
Sure.
So I had a conversation of what board do I buy, where do I go, and so it was interesting because like I feel like I'm talking to someone that's in the know,
Right.
and
Right.
so surfing on the East Coast is different than surfing on the West Coast, and I've been buying my boards from a custom
So,
guy.
well, hold on for a second. Surfing on the two coasts are different.
Oh,
Why?
absolutely.
Why is that?
So surfing on the East Coast, you have a very fast break. So
Okay.
I like to say it's kind of like skiing. If you can ski in the Northeast, you can ski out west because you ski out west on powder, and you ski in the Northeast on ice. Surfing's the same way. It's a very fast break on the East Coast, and it's just because of the basic shorelines that you have, and it's a fast break, and you have to be that much better to be able to get into the wave. Where surfing on the West Coast, it's more of a gradual wave, and you can more easily, kind of get up and get into the wave. So if you can
Interesting.
surf
I
on the East
never
Coast, you
knew
can
that.
easily surf on the West Coast.
Okay.
So
All right.
but anyway, so the situation I was just saying is that you can have a conversation about where do you get the, or should I get the board? What style board? There's all different characteristics of a surfboard. They're not all the same, and it's interesting to do that. Is to be able to kind of get that feedback, and every time you learn something new.
Yeah,
You
for
learn something
sure.
new that you probably wouldn't if you did the old traditional way of using Google search. You may not garnish that insight, that information.
Right.
So,
Right. Because some of
but
the searches are promoted, some of them are trying to sell you things, and
to some degree
depends
it
on what.
still is the case.
Right.
So
Right.
but it's a little bit, it's a faster process. I'll spend less time doing it if I'm searching for something, if I'm looking for assistance. In business, I use it for, I make, I'm going to say, hundreds or thousands of decisions in a given day, and being able to, have those more critical decisions, and kind of bounce it off to say, hey, did I miss anything here? If I'm doing some type of presentation, or if I'm putting together some strategy documents, is being able to throw it out there and say, hey, give me some insight, give me some feedback on this. Um,
Right.
you
Because
know,
I didn't even think about that. Like, you, as a CEO, you're making tons of decisions a day, and a lot of those decisions are important because those can sway,
you're only as
how the
good.
business goes, how yeah, a lot,
You're only
yeah,
as good as the decisions you make,
yeah.
right? So I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So
So wait,
having,
go back. Let's say that again. You're only as good
yeah,
as the decisions you make.
yeah,
I
that's
like
true.
that quote. Okay.
Yeah, and so my old business partner, said to me that has kind of stayed with me as well. Is no decision is the worst decision.
No decision is
Is
the
the
word.
worst
Okay.
decision. So just make a
That's
decision. Be right or wrong. If you're wrong, learn from it. If you're right, take advantage of it. By doing nothing, you're not right or wrong. You're not advancing yourself. You're not learning anything. And you're not accomplishing anything. So
right. That's an interesting take. My teacher from elementary school, I think it was, she's said a quote, "No decision is a decision," and I always took that to heart
it is. It's
because
just not a good one,
right, it's just not a
typically.
good one.
So,
So I like your take on that. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, unless it's should I jump off this cliff or not? I
Right.
guess maybe not doing that is the decision and the right decision. But
Yeah,
yes. So,
yeah. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah. So the AI, that's how you use it, incorporated in your business. What about, or in your business in your day to day? But what about the business or culture? Work culture, workflow in the actual office. Has AI affected that? Do you use that?
it is. I think it's, as I think many people are discussing, it's early stage, but with tremendous potential of where it can go. I think in our industry, specific to what we do, and I'll say just on the various levels of services that we provide, is that it's being used, I think, across the board with everybody within the organization. I think it should be used more readily, and just for, even if it's just a balance of, should I do this? Is the way I've been doing it, and you want to just bounce it off of AI, or get a better insight to maybe there's different ways of doing it. It should be at least given consideration. I don't look at AI in the near term as going to be replacing anybody in this office. I look at AI as making the people in the office better at what they do. If we're able to get the right people talking to the right clients, in the shortest amount of time to reduce the time it takes to resolve their issues. Let's say on the help desk,
Right.
it's an iManage problem, and I can get one of our iManage experts to address that as quickly as possible, as opposed to it going through either a chain of commands and getting escalated, or handled in a less appropriate manner. Let's say, so that to me is value of what it can do.
Right.
So. Um, we had a great experience with the Shark Tank. We did that whole like Shark Tank experience here of getting the different teams to compete and each one bringing their own products. And
Their own like AI products.
yes, and I thought it was amazing because it's the testament to everybody's interested in it. Everybody's thinking about it. Everybody's
Right.
using it in different ways of how it can help. So, I mean,
So were you one of the judges?
yes, yes. So,
Okay. So
so,
so who won then? I gotta know who won. What was the idea? What did they win with?
so the team that won was Fernando, Greg, and Miguel. Those were the three that came up with, I think, the most complete solution and technically accurate solution of something that this can be done. This addresses a very specific need, and in the fashion that they proposed it, I think was right on point,
Nice.
with it. So they ended up winning it. But
This is what happens
we
when you put a bunch of text together. and-
we did we deviated a little bit because everybody kind of won. We made sure that everybody took home something. So
There you go.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that sounds like a good work culture right there.
No, it was fun. I think everybody
Right.
enjoyed it. I think it was a good experience all around. And we're actually taking that solution, that winning product that they've come up with, and trying to build out on that and really make that into more of a substantial offering for us to use internally. So,
Right.
yeah.
Which is cool because now, like you said, you're getting everybody together as a team, as a company, doing this fun game, but it actually produced something that is actually tangible and that you can actually
Yeah,
utilize, which is pretty
100%.
awesome,
Yeah, it's great.
man.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of companies. I want to go back for a second because we were talking about ChatGPT and or AI, and you were like, I'm, encouraging people to use it more often,
Yeah.
and especially in a service field where you're providing a service, the quicker you provide that service, the better for the clients. But I know like a lot of companies were originally when AI was coming out was like, I want to block this. I don't want anybody using AI. It shouldn't be used. Not here, but in other
Mhm.
companies and things like that. And don't utilize it. And even before the cameras are rolling, I mean, you were talking a little bit before, and we were talking about the cloud, and you were saying how when the cloud first came out, everybody was against it, trying to avoid it. And look where we are nowadays. Cloud is everywhere, and then
Mhm.
now AI is the new thing, and now it looks like everybody's kind of either jumping on ship or you're not. But the people that aren't are going to be kind of left behind.
Yeah, it's as I like to say, use it responsibly.
Right.
To restrict someone from that is, I think, doing a disservice. I think that if people can use it responsibly and they're educated, and there's the trust that your team, that your employees are going to use it in the proper manner, that's the best scenario that you can come up with. Doesn't always happen, but there's the governance that goes along with that, and if proper governance is put in place, you can have the comfort to know that it's going to be used properly. You're going to learn and you're going to advance. AI is not a one thing. I mean, I think a lot of people look at it and say, just give me AI, and I'm like, well, we don't, just get AI. I mean, AI is a variety of there. It's a concept of how things are going to operate, and you've got to develop that. And every one of our clients is different. So to go to a client and say this is what you should use because this other firm is using it is a disservice to the client. Each one is going to be unique if it's done right, and they're going to get the most benefit from it. So, and it's the same for us. Is that what we do may not be the same and the best for other MSPs as well. So,
Right.
but it comes down to using it. You can have, in our business, you have the 80/20 rule of software, right? So, in most situations, people use, 20% of the software, 80% of the software goes unused. So
Interesting.
they just
Okay.
never take
Interesting
advantage
rule.
of all the
Okay.
things that it can do. They do it for just the basic things that they want to use it for. And if they get the right training and mentoring on how to use that, it's a game changer. Then it reverses, and they get 80% of the value, back from their investment that they're making in software. AI is the same thing. Is if you don't provide the proper training and guidance to the staff, to the team of people that are going to be working with it, there's no purpose of using it. So
Right.
if you don't get that buy-in and if you don't get that commitment, then it's going to be a mess.
Sure. Some people are always just set in their ways. I do it this way, and that's it. And then, so if you give them a new tool, they might not use it. But if you train them on it, then most likely they're going to use it more.
Yeah, and once they get it, they say, "Why didn't we do this, years ago?" And that's the typical scenario that we're starting to see is people are starting to realize, like in legal, you're looking at, I'll use document review as an example. In the e-discovery process, there's a firm that's saving hundreds of hours on every document review that they do. Hundreds of hours when you're talking about, $300-$400 an hour of attorney time.
I was going to say
in
hundreds
order
of
to do
hours
that.
is yeah, that's a big.
And the
That's a
bigger
big
firms,
thing.
it's thousands.
Wow.
So, but in the target market that we work with, there's literally hundreds of hours that can be saved in just that capability alone. And that's the thing that once they see it and they trust it, that's another element to it.
Right. Right.
Once they do, then it's this is the way we're going to be doing it.
So what's interesting too is because you kind of touched on this before, a lot of people when they hear AI, and a lot of people just used to ChatGPT or Gemini, they just think of it as here's a prompt. I'm going to type something in a question, let it come up, and that's it. But you touched on it before, saying there's a lot more to AI than pretty much just that. And um, from what I gathered, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it almost sounds like you're reaching out to each client and finding out what specifically what their needs are, and then applying specific types of AI, like document review, like you were just talking about, is something different than just, hey, here's a prompt and I'm going to type a question into. It's actually doing something else related to what that firm needs.
Yes, that so document review. I'll use relativity. That's kind of the 800-pound gorilla in that space. The AI capabilities are integrated into their applications. So it's
Right.
not like you have to go out there and learn something separate
Right. Right.
and then use that in conjunction with it. Is you're learning their product, but you're learning the advanced features of their product. So it's going out there and it's going and looking at hundreds, thousands of documents, and it's summarizing all those. Document review is that's what you do. You summarize it. You look for specific content that you want to pull out and mark up the documents and so on. So it's doing that, for you in a very, very efficient manner.
Right. Right.
So it's not even like you have to learn a new product. You learn some capabilities of an existing product that many firms have been using for years and years. And it's the same thing with research and LexisNexis and so on. And many people may not even know that it's AI driven. The results, the outcome that they're getting is an AI driven outcome because it's baked into the software. It's ubiquitous.
Right. Right.
So that is different when you look at it, and that's just one part of it. I look at the opportunities, and the opportunities go well beyond that. And it's just to what extent do firms want to go to realize the value and the benefits that can be offered to it, like agentic AI right now, which is the creation of agents and the ability to get an environment. So legal is got more applications. Legal industry, there's more legal applications on the desktop in legal than any other industry that I've ever worked in.
Right.
So
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
but the goal behind it is for those applications to work seamlessly together. So you're taking data from from litigation support into your practice management system, into a document management system, you name it, it's going across a multitude of different applications. So in order to do that, you can do it manually, which can be done.
Right.
You can create integrations, which are out there and can be
Right.
done in some of those situations. or you can do it in more of an intelligent fashion where you're creating agents that are utilizing APIs in each of those applications to go out there and to take action to say, oh, wait a second, you did this. So that data now has to get updated in another system. So it's going out there in an intelligent fashion and not waiting for it to happen automatically. So there's automation and there's AI. AI is
Right.
really where it's true machine learning. There's thinking being done, versus it's the same rote process each time in an automation.
Right. Right.
But we all know that everything isn't the same all the time, that it changes, and you need for the systems for the data to be changed accordingly. So that's the difference. And it really is, when it's done right, that's the game changer. That's really where you can really see competitive advantages, especially in the legal industry. There's smaller firms that are doing it, the small mid-sized firms that are doing it can now start really competing with the larger firms.
That's pretty interesting, actually. That now these smaller firms, like you said, can now compete with these. Like you said, if you're saving hundreds of hours and everything's these agents that you were describing again is uh to me a lot different than what we were talking about. It's not just a prompt; it's automatically doing these things and integrating everything together and just knows the process and starts.
Yeah, it's autonomous.
Yeah.
It'll work behind the scenes. I mean, there's controls around it, so it's not as if all of a sudden they're going to steal all your data or lock
Right,
you
right,
out
right.
or do anything
Sure.
like that. But yes, there's
It's almost like you have someone sitting right next to you, just helping you go through the work, and yeah,
it is, and that's our whole concept here, right? Is Ari is just that, is your assistant, is that virtual assistant that's watching what you're doing and being able to chime in and assist in those remedial type tasks that it can be done more efficiently through AI versus having a manual person doing those
and
things.
would you say
So
that it was again?
Ari,
Ari.
yeah,
Ari. Okay,
yeah.
and
So
that's a AI bot. Is that what you're saying?
that's where we're going with AI,
Okay,
is really to build that out, and that's where most of our R&D and work effort is going into, is to try
gotcha.
and create that can truly be that assistant to any attorney, to any person working in a legal practice.
Right. Okay.
So
So that's a big offering that IVIONICS has then.
yeah, it's in the works.
Okay.
It's not. It's in true Microsoft fashion. It's going to be in the market tomorrow, but we're going to hold off until it's ready. But yeah, I mean that's the thought process with it, is leverage AI as best as you can to enhance human intelligence.
I
So
like
it's
it.
not going to replace people, but it's going to make them smarter.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are worried they're going to get replaced and this and that, but I think it's more of a tool to help them be more efficient.
It's exactly right. It's going to provide them with information and insights, as I like to call it, is make them smarter, um, and be able to do it faster, do it better, um, make their clients happier. At the end of the
That's
day,
always the yeah.
So I mean, the hard thing is we have the quandary in the legal industry where if you go out there, you tell an attorney we can save you 100 hours, the attorney's response is why would I do that? I bill those hours to my client.
Right.
I'm losing money by doing that. That doesn't make any sense. And they're accurate in that, but everybody else is going to be doing it, and they're going to be saving their clients those hundreds of hours and charging less, whether it's some type of fixed fee arrangement that they have, or whether it's just a reduced amount of hours that they bill them. So it's just like anybody else, is you got to keep up. And
Right.
if you want to look at that and say, I'm not going to be as efficient as we possibly can because of that, it's that self-serving model, right?
Yeah.
So you got to always be doing what's in the best interest of your client. That's my motto. That's I've always said that if you always do what's right for them, you'll always have a happy client. So
Right. And that'll always come back to you.
it does. It does. You know what? It's a small world out there, so
Yeah.
it's amazing, what you get. You do something, you do the right thing for somebody, says it to somebody else, And the majority of our new business comes in via referrals, and it's great. It's great to see that.
I think it's one of the best, right? Word of mouth referrals. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
And that line you said before, information and insight. I like it.
yes. So, look, we believe success is best achieved by advancing human intelligence.
Man, Paul,
So
you were
that's-
hitting us with some lines today. I like it. Some good quotes are coming out of this.
Right.
All right.
So I mean that that is the belief, and that by empowering people, by delivering insights and intelligence, or critical information, I'd like to say, that's going to give them the ability to compete.
Right.
And that's what we do, through the innovation and the solutions that we deliver to our clients. So it's a simple thing.
You say that, but well,
it's not, but it's I love what we do. I every day I enjoy coming into the office. So it's been a long run, but it's been a good run. So
right. Nice.
Yep.
Very good. Well, Paul, thank you for having us interview you, and thanks for being a part of the show.
Thanks for tuning in to Legal Intelligence powered by IVIONICS, where we break down tech, innovation, and insights for the modern law firm. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps us reach more listeners like you. Until next time, stay secure, stay smart, and keep leading with innovation.